Half an hour ago, you were hiding in a small shop, your heart pounding as you held Myeong close. The shopkeeper, a nervous man, couldn't help but notice your anxiety in the child you carried. His suspicions grew and the fear got the better of him. Without hesitation, he informed the mafia, sensing that something was off. Jungkook arrived at the shop with his guards, his presence imposing. He looked around, eyes cold and sharp. Where is she? He demanded, his voice low growl that sent shiver down the shopkeeper's spine. The shopkeeper stammered, Sir, she laughed. Jungkook hand slammed onto the table with a loud bang, the force of his anger making the shopkeeper flinch. Why didn't you stop her, you damn fool? Jungkook yelled, his voice filled with frustration. Terrified, the shopkeeper stuttered, Sorry, sir, I was afraid she might be a criminal. Jungkook's eyes narrowed as he pulled out his, pointing it directly at the man's forehead. Are you not afraid of the mafia, huh? The shopkeeper faced rank of collar, fear making him sweat. Sorry, sir, but I can show you the CCTV footage. Jungkook lowered his slightly, his eyes burning with rage. Show me. The shopkeeper hurriedly pulled up the footage, trembling as he did. He pointed to the screen. Sir, she is the girl, he said, his voice quavering. Jungkook gaze fixed on the screen. Myeong, that's my son, he muttered, recognizing the child immediately. The shopkeeper compiled, entering the image. Jungkook's expression darkened as he recognized you. I know this girl, he said, his voice cold and calculated. She's Jiwon's sister. I've seen her photo of this house. One of his guards stepped forward. Puzzled, but sir, when we checked his house, no one was there. Jungkook's jaw clenched. I know where she might be. Follow me. He turned to leave, his steps purposeful and quick. The shopkeeper, desperate to get something out of the situation, stammered, But my money? Jungkook didn't even look back at his commanded his guards, giving the money with that he left the shop, focused solely on finding his son. On the other side, meanwhile, you and Moon were still discussing your next move, fear gnawing at both of you. Why you need to? Yoon began, but she was interrupted by the sudden ringing of the doorbell. The sound echoed ominously in the small house. Yoon's eyes widened in fear as she looked at you. Who could be at this time, Ryan? She whispered, her voice trembling. Ryan, her dropped. Jiwon, to stumble, tears swelling up in your eyes as the panic set in. Yoon grabbed your shoulder, shaking you lightly to snap you out of the fear. Stop crying, Ryan, let me think. Take Yoon and run out of the back door now. You shook your head, your voice breaking. But what about you? Yoon's expression softened through her voice dissolved. Remain strong. Don't worry about you. I'll handle. Just go. Tears streamed down your face as you looked at her, torn between leaving and staying. No, I can't leave you like this, you said, your voice thick with emotion. Yoon's eyes hardened. Ryan, we don't have such much time. Run. You hesitated, but Yoon from tone finally made you move. Run, Ryan, save that child, she urged, pushing you toward the back door. You grabbed Myeong, who was still sleeping soundly, and with a final tearful glance at Yoon, you stepped out of the house, slipping into the dark night. As you disappeared in the shadows, Yoon took a deep breath and opened the front door. Her skipped a beat when she found herself face to face with Jungkook. Mafia, she stuttered, shocked by his presence. Jungkook didn't waste a second. Where is she? He demanded, his voice steadily calm. Yoon hesitated, fear gripping her, but knowing she had to protect you, and it's not Jiwon. She quickly pointed toward the backyard. She stammered, hopping against Hawk. On the other side, you were carefully walking, cradling Yoon in your arms, trying your best not to wake him up. The night was nearly quiet, with only the sound of your soft footstep echoing in the darkness. Your heart was pounding. Suddenly you heard a footstep behind you. Your breath hitched and you knew instantly that someone was following you. Panic surged through your veins as you quickened your pace, hoping to lose whoever was behind you. But then, just as suddenly as they started, the footsteps stopped. The silence was suffocating. You couldn't resist. You turned around, your heart in your throat, and you bumped into a solid figure. You kept looking up to see none other than Jungkook standing before you, his cold eyes staring down at you. His expression was unreadable, but the recognition in his gaze was undeniable. So you are Jiwon's sister. You opened your mouth to respond, but before you could say a word, a sharp pain struck at the back of your Jungkook immediately took a sleep Myeong in the arms. The world around you blurred and spun as you felt yourself collapsing, unable to hold on to consciousness. The last thing you felt was Jungkook's arms catching you before everything went blank. Jungkook looked down at your unconscious form in his arms, his expression hardening. Take her to the basement. He ordered his men to off his cart, step forward immediately, carefully taking you from his grasp. They carried you out to the basement, unaware of the storm brewing in the Jungkook's mind as he watched them disappear into darkness. Jungkook paced the floor of his office, anger simmering just beneath the surface. He turned sharply to one of his guards, his voice cold and demanding. Bring that, he ordered, referring to Jiwon. The guard hesitated, nervous under Jungkook's intense gaze. Sir, we believe he ran away. He's not in Seoul anymore. Jungkook's expression darkened, frustration evident. Then ask his sister where he is. He snapped. The guard shifted uneasily. She's still unconscious, sir. Without another word, Jungkook strode out of the room, heading straight for the basement. When he arrived, he found you lying on the cold floor, bound and helpless. Without hesitation, he grabbed a bucket of water and threw it over your face. You gave Jordan awake. Good morning, Miss Wang, Jungkook said mockingly, his voice dripping with menace. You blinked rapidly, trying to make sense of your surroundings. Where am I? You asked, your voice trembling. Jungkook leaned closer, his expression hardening. In hell, replied, his tone cold and unfeeling. Panic surged through you as you struggled against your findings. Myeong, where is Myeong? You whispered, your voice shaking. Jungkook's eyes narrowed dangerously. He grabbed your chin roughly, forcing you to meet his gaze. Don't you dare to say my son's name with your filthy mouth. He hissed, his grip tightening painfully. Fear paralyzed you as you had heard the stories, terrifying tales of the Mafia's wrath and brutality. Now face to face with one of the most dangerous men alive, you felt the truth of those stories deep into your bones. Tears welled up in your eyes and you could barely speak. Where is your brother, Jungkook? I don't know, you stammered, your heart racing in terror. Jungkook's hand lashed out, striking you across the face. The force of the slap made you cry out in pain, tears spilling from your eyes. Please, you begged through your sobs. Please let me go home. Jungkook laid in close, his breath hot on your face. Where is he? He shouted, his patience wearing thin. You met his gaze, tears streaming down your cheeks. I don't know, sir. You whispered, your voice barely audible. Please let me go. Jungkook stepped back, frustration and anger evident on his voice. Call Minji. He ordered, his guard chill deal with her. He turned and left you there, broken and terrified, your body trembling from fear and pain. A few times later, the door opened again and a woman walked in, dressed in a black jeans and a leather jacket. She exuded an aura of cold authority. In her hand, she held a bat which she was twirled lazily as she approached you. I don't like hurting pretty girls like you, Minji said, her voice sweet with a cruel edge. So how about you just tell me where your brother is and we can skip the drama? I already told him, you whispered, your voice hoarse from crying. I don't know, Minji's expression hardened, and without warning, she knew hard in the stomach. You doubled over in pain, gasping for breath. Meanwhile, in Myeong's room, the little boy woke up disoriented and confused. He blinked a few times before realizing where he was, and his eyes widened in shock when he saw his father sitting beside him. Appa, Myeong cried, throwing his arms around Jungkook. Jungkook smiled softly, hugging on his son tightly. Good morning, baby, he murmured, his voice gentle. Appa, how did I get there? Myeong asked, pulling back to look up at his father. Jungkook ruffled his son's hair affectionately. That doesn't matter right now. How are you feeling? Myeong blurred his face in Jungkook's chair, his small hands clutching at his father's surge. I missed you, Appa. Jungkook heard ached at his son's word and he held him even tighter. I missed you too, Myeong. After a moment, Myeong pulled back, looking up at his father with wide, innocent eyes. Appa, where is Wang Nona? Jungkook's expression darkened slightly at the mention of your name. He gently pushed Myeong back to the look him in his eyes. Myeong, you don't need to worry about her anymore. Appa is going to punish her for kidnapping you. Myeong shook his head, tears welling up in his eyes. No, Appa, she didn't kidnap me. She saved me from them. Jungkook's eyes widened in surprise. What? Myeong nodded earnestly, his voice urgent. Appa, Jiwon uncle is very bad. He makes Luna cry every day. Please, Appa, save her from him. Jungkook felt a pang of guilt twist in his chest as his son's words sank in. He stroked Myeong's hair soothingly. Don't worry, Myeong. I'll take care of everything. You go take a shower and Appa will bring you something to eat, okay? Okay, Appa. Myeong agreed, his trust in his father unwavering. Jungkook stood up and left the room, his mind racing. He headed straight for the basement where he found you lying on the cold, hard floor, your body curled up in a pain as Minji continued with the bat. Please, you whimpered, your voice squeaked in pain. It hurts. Stop, Jungkook commanded, his voice sharp. Minji paused, glancing up at him with confusion. But boss, she hasn't told us anything about her brother yet. She argued her fought. I said stop. Jungkook's voice was deadly, leaving no room for disobedience. Minji hesitated for a moment before out. Jungkook ordered, his tone icy. Minji cast you one last glare before exiting the room, closing the door behind her. Jungkook watched her go, then turned his attention back to you. You were trembling in pain, your breath coming in short. He knelt down beside you and gently lifted you in his arms, cradling you in a bridal style. You flinched at the touch, your tear-filled eyes searching his face for any sign of mercy. Please leave me, you whispered, your voice barely audible, but those were the last words you managed to utter before you lost consciousness. The pain and exhaustion overwhelming you. Jungkook's expression softened as he carried you out of the basement and up to his room. He carefully placed you on the bed, his mind still reeling for what Myeong had told him. No one will hurt you from now on. He treated your wounds with surprising tenderness, carefully tending to the bruises and cuts that Minji had inflicted. Once he was done, he stepped back, his gaze lingering on your unconscious form. Jungkook left the room, his mind set on finding Jiwon and making him pay for everything he had done to you and Myeong. But as he closed the door behind him, he couldn't shake the feeling that the situation had become. We continue.